Welcome, folks, to the Robbie Rowe Show. I'm your host, Robbie Rowland, and you are listening to The Bearded and the Brain with Dr. Josh Heenan. Now let's hear a soundbite from the doc himself.
If you can run around and play on a soccer field and jump and kick a ball and stuff and you're 5 years old, the forces that are going through your body as you're cutting and running and jumping are somewhere between 4 and 7 times your body weight.
Listening to Clear the Mechanism. The Robbie Rowe Show. The Robbie Rowe Show.
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Robbie Rowland, here on the Robbie Rowe Show, Beard and the Brain segment, episode 5. We're going to dive into the popular topic, what age should I start training? I know, especially in today's day and age where the other day I had a conversation with a 12-year-old on Instagram through direct messages. And like the questions he was asking was like, wait, I thought he was in high school. And then I went back and like thought about what was I doing when I was 12? Like I didn't even know how a phone worked. I mean, I guess I still don't, but that's besides the point. Anyways, Dr. Heenan and I dive into obviously what is optimal when you're talking training and you're talking age and how those two coincide. This is going to be probably the shortest episode ever of not even Bearded in the Brains, but of the Robbie Rowe Show in general. So something probably pretty important to talk about when we obviously have the subject of the younger generation, right? I'm talking like 8 years old to maybe 13, before high school. I get a lot of questions from like parents out there about my mechanical video analysis option. And I'll be the first one to say, you know, at that age, I mean, it's not so much focusing on the mechanics when you throw a baseball, right? Like I'm kind of in the same line as Dr. Heenan when talking about just being an athlete and being active and learning your body and learning the forces and kind of all of that. But at the same time, like, I'm not going to lie to you guys and say that I don't do that, because I've had an 8-year-old and I've had just this past week, I had a 12-year-old. And I think it's appropriate, honestly. I mean, I will say the one way that I do go about it differently is I ask the father or the mother to kind of control all, you know, everything. So for example, with the 12-year-old, I had the dad send in the video. I sent the analysis back to the dad. We talked about how to kind of approach it, and I told him like flat out that, you know, I don't want all of this information thrown at a kid at that age, because, you know, what is he going to do with it? We were all that age before, right? Like, you know, what did we want to do when we stepped onto the baseball field? We wanted to have fun. We didn't want to think about mechanics or arm placement or force application or hip shoulder separation, right? We just wanted to have fun. But what I told the dad, and I'll tell you guys, is why not start at an age, at that age especially, start moving the right way. Start using your body correctly. Now, again, I'm not going to dive into my analysis and go into a very detailed approach and have all of these metrics that I will use on, you know, a 20-year-old college kid, but I'll keep it simple. Probably the most alarming things, right? I'll point out, and then I'll tell the father or the mother, and I say, hey, like, deliver this message any way you see appropriate, because now then they have the opportunity and the power to, you know, give that message to their son. So definitely think it's appropriate. If you're unfamiliar with what my mechanical video analysis is, you send me 2 videos, one from the center field angle, one from the open side. I throw it into an app, slow it down, write on it, talk over it. Send those back to you, basically what I see, how to move more efficiently and use your body better. And then I'll take a video of myself and kind of put everything that I talked about into a visual of my doing. Then send that back to you guys. And if you have any questions, if there's any drills that help in the particular situation, then I give those to you. But yeah, I think it's a popular topic, you know, at that age, because if you're a parent, obviously you want the best for your son and you want the brightest future. So you want to do a lot of these things. But that's kind of where I stand with it. The option is available. Save you 20% if you're a podcast listener. Type in Robbie Rowe Show, ROBBY ROWSHOW at checkout. and that's therobbierowshow.com. You can also check that out, link in the show notes to the mechanical video analysis, or if you go to my Instagram bio, click that link, you'll see mechanical video analysis option. All right, guys, without further ado, let's get to Bearded in the Brains, episode 5. What age should I start training? Thanks for listening, guys. Okay, so this is a popular one, obviously, with a lot of baseball dads, baseball moms. They come to your page. They see a lot of the stuff that you present is weight room specific.
Yep.
So now I'm sure that these guys are getting the idea of like, okay, well, my little Timmy's 10. Like, I want him to be optimal. Should little Timmy get put into a weight room setting? What is the optimal age to start training?
What we're looking at is movement, and it all comes back to movement. And we talked about it on I believe it was the last episode or 2 episodes ago, long-term athletic development. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, if you can run around and play on a soccer field and jump and kick a ball and stuff, and you're 5 years old, the forces that are going through your body as you're cutting and running and jumping are somewhere between 4 and 7 times your body weight. So even if you're a 50-pound little kiddo running around trying to cut, you're absorbing a lot of force. What I care about, is it efficient? So if you can't lunge your body weight or do a body weight squat or do a push-up or a chin-up, those are the fundamental movements that are going to dictate how you move. We're all concerned about the UCL epidemic in terms of like, weighted balls and like training and all this, and I believe that's really reactionary. So we're like, oh shit, we're screwing up because we're giving these guys weighted balls.
Yeah.
Are we actually screwing up with the weighted balls, or are we screwing up with the fact that like little Timmy wasn't even ready to kick a soccer ball at 5 years old because he's been playing video games the whole time? And there's nothing wrong with video games, but if you can't run around and be efficient there with your own body weight, you're asking for issues.
Well, that goes into that same conversation too, is like, should I do driveline? Should I do weighted balls?
Right. And drive-on's a place you can't do it.
I just saw that post.
It's a great one. I love it.
But it's so true, right? Because I think with the society that we live in, people want that one thing that they can just go, I'll just do that and I'll be fine.
Absolutely.
But it's so much more than that, because it's about, okay, who am I? What do I bring to the table? Like, how do I move? Will I be able to handle that?
Right.
You know?
And so back to the original question of like, when should you be able to go in the gym? That there's a huge, psychosocial, emotional piece to it, which is basically just looking at the whole mind, body, understanding of what the values are. If I'm going to grab a little kid, little 15-year-old, 13-year-old kid and be like, you're going to the gym today, and they hate it, what positive effects is that going to have on them?
Right.
Very minimal. So if they're biomechanically efficient enough to be able to do push-ups, deadlifts, chin-ups, things like that, load them up. As long as their movements are good, your body, your skeletal system can handle it. Your nervous system can handle it.
Yeah.
It's when you have poor form, that's a tough thing, because now you gotta break that.
Well, that's what I would say.
But it should come from the athlete.
Yeah. But what's the flip side of that, though, right? Like, what if he wants to train? Like, what if he's 12 years old and he has a phone and an Instagram and he wants to, like, he desires that, he's got that fire inside of him.
He's got to search out and figure out what are the best ways to learn how to move. So mastering the basics of a push-up, a deadlift, a lunge, a bodyweight squat, a chin-up, or a pull-up, if you can do those things, now you opened up. That's like being able to learn how to hit off the tee. Once you learn how to hit off the tee, hitting a ball that's being flipped to you is the hardest thing in the world. Hitting off the tee is pretty simple once you get it. What'd you say?
Riding a bike.
Exactly. You just gotta learn. You gotta step and progress the way you can. Instagram's a great tool, and YouTube and any of these other websites that you can get that information. You just want to make sure you're getting it from credible sources.
Yeah, it could be dangerous.
It's a double-edged sword. So you just gotta really know what you're doing, and that's why I don't think that every kid needs to come and do like a kids training class or something like that. I think that's a little bit overkill. But you should be able to, if it's important to the kid, being able to take some videos and hire a coach one time just to be like, hey, can you look at this?
Yeah.
It's really easy to be like, hey, you got straight lines there, work on this, and practice these things. That's all it is practice.
It's repetitions, but it's efficient repetitions.
Right. A good rep is a good thing.
I think that's what gets misinterpreted too with kids is you say master the reverse lunge, master the push-up, master the deadlift.
Yep.
What does that look like for those guys that want to know? I mean, like, they're not just going in and doing it to do it.
No.
And then hopefully over time that they get good at it.
Right.
It's do it in the initial stages good.
Right. And that's why, it's the learning curve that we are able to help as strength coaches, therapists, pitching coaches, coaches of athletes.
Yeah.
Your experience and your understanding of how the body moves is better than someone that doesn't. So for you, teaching a kid just to get his hand in the right spot to throw a baseball is a big deal. And that's why, having someone like you on a staff or being able to reach out to you on the internet is like a great tool. So it's just about using those tools that are at your fingertips.
Accessible. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for your time on the Robbie Rowe Show.
You got it, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in to another episode of The Robbie Rowe Show. This edition was obviously The Bearded and the Brains with Josh Heenan. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being listeners, and I ask you to do one special thing for me to increase the popularity and try to reach more people with this show is if you have an iPhone, open up the Apple Podcast app. If you don't have it, download it from the App Store, but I'm assuming you have it because you're listening to the show. Bottom right, there'll be a search tab. Hit that search tab. Type in The Robbie Rowe Show. Click on my podcast. Scroll down, you'll see ratings and reviews. You'll see an option to write a review. And I just ask you please to write like a nice review, right? Like, hey, this guy sounds smart sometimes. Or he doesn't, but he brings on guests that sound smart. So anything will help. Like I said, it just increases the popularity and it increases the reach to more and more individuals. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I hope you have a good rest of your day. God bless. See ya.